Welcome, greedy goblins, back to another episode of Green is Not Nick Reacts. Yeah, that's right. I'm reacting. Reacting to the fact that the top of my mic is lost. I don't know where it went. So hopefully I'm not puffing and making a lot of P sounds. Hopefully I'm not using the word pretty stupid a lot in this video, but I think I might, because today we're watching a video called Millionaire Reacts, Greedy Rich People versus Lazy Poor People. So is this what the original video was called? I think it was called just Rich versus Poor Middle Ground, but we're gonna watch a millionaire react to it. So usually we watch these Jubilee videos. This time we are watching a Jubilee video that is narrated by a millionaire, which is exactly what I wanted to see. I was looking for this content for a long time. Listen, let's talk about stuff. Specifically money, business, and finance. The Graham Stephan show. Isn't the Graham Stephan show like that British guy? That's the Graham Norton show. So this guy usually does a lot of videos on you know, talking about stuff, money, business, finance. He likes to react to videos and talk about how easy it is to be poor, it feels like. Also, I've never seen any of his videos, so who am I judging? I had someone email this to me. Who did I have email this to me, you ask? It is by Ivan. Thank you, Ivan, for sending this. Who wants to watch a video? I'm sure it won't make us mad. I'm sure it won't. By the way, can I complain about something? I'm going to complain about something. YouTube, if your video is monetized, you get money from every person that watches an ad. But they have this thing they implemented called limited monetization. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it makes that little green dollar sign into a yellow dollar sign, which means that they're going to show your video to less advertisers because there's questionable content inside the video. Let's say I did a video about sex workers. They'll probably put a limited monetization on that, which means that I make less money. I make a limited amount of the monetization. But what they don't tell you, and what a lot of creators don't realize, is that limited monetization isn't just, oh, you get maybe 70%, you get maybe 50%, you get maybe 30% of the money you would make, depending on how bad it is. The moment that you get a yellow check mark, you are blocked off from probably 90% of the advertisers on your video. And instead of letting the advertisers that are okay with that questionable content advertise on your videos, they just cut you off, and you pretty much make anywhere from like 5 to 20% of the money you normally would make. So it's practically demonetization. And I upload daily, so it's hard for me when I get a yellow check mark to appeal my video and get it approved. Basically to say every day I'm uploading these videos and I'm getting a yellow check mark like every day for most of my videos. Before they even check the content, the machine automatically deems it like limited. And I don't know if it's something with the content I make, but like the videos it recently happened on were yesterday's video, which was the old people of TikTok, which I don't know why that would have gotten limited. Maybe it's because it said stripper pole in the thumbnail, even though I blurred it out. And maybe it's because the grandma was dancing, but I was like, how is that limited compared to any other video that normally has ads on it? I don't know. The video I did with Isabel was limited for a while, which I don't know. That video was like very clean, so I have no idea why that would be limited. Anyways, I don't know why I'm telling you this. I just think it's a little frustrating, and I guess my point to say that they all end up getting appealed. So after I miss out on most of my views being monetized, I finally get approved, and then I don't make any of that money from the views from the first day or whatever. So they usually approve them, meaning that the machine is wrong and YouTube deems it acceptable. But the machine, the AI, is saying that it's not acceptable, which means I have to appeal it, which means I have to wait a day for them to approve it. All of this to say, the big issue is that YouTube doesn't tell you why your video gets limited monetization. They don't tell you what the AI picked up. They don't even give you a category. They literally will give you a yellow dollar sign that says limited. This video is running limited or no ads due to content identified as not suitable for most advertisers. It remains fully playable and is eligible to earn subscription revenue from YouTube Premium. And then if you go here, it just says ad suitability, confirmed by review. This video has been confirmed by manual review as not suitable for most advertisers. So this is a video where they looked at my video that I appealed and said, nope, it's still not suitable for most viewers. And this is the Hype House video. What was in the Hype House video that wasn't appropriate? It was a show for teenagers. It was a show about the Hype House. What was not appropriate? And then they don't tell you what is wrong with it. They don't tell you what makes it limited monetization. And most of the time they just approve it after that. So I honestly don't know how to make this easier so I can actually do my job, because the reason I'm posting these every day is not only for people to see the videos, but also because it's my job and I have to pay editors. And when I get limited monetization, I'm not going to lose any money. I don't pay my editors. I just stop paying the people who work for me. That was a joke. Obviously I'm going to pay my editors. Okay, that was a bit of a tangent. Hopefully I put a timestamp for you to skip past. Let's talk about Millionaire Reacts Greedy Rich People versus Lazy Poor People. It's a long ass video. I'll probably skip through some of it, but I just want to see what he has to say.
What's okay? Hold on.
What's What? That's kind of what I do, so I can't really make fun of him for that.
Hold on. Welcome back to the Graham Stephan Show. So today we're doing a showdown between the rich and the poor.
Yes, rich is Jeff Bezos and poor is guy with green hair and no pockets.
It's this video right here. It's titled, Rich versus Poor, Is the Economy Rigged? Wait for it. Middle ground from Jubilee. You know what that means? We got to do our part to destroy the like button for the YouTube algorithm.
Okay, so we're gonna watch a millionaire react to this, and you know, for all intents and purposes, I always thought it was all intensive purposes. I don't even know what that means, so I don't even know why I said the term. But for all transparency, I would label myself as a rich person. Okay, I am very privileged in what I do and what I'm able to do by posting every day. And so I have a bias here because I'm rich and I'm an evil rich person and I want to destroy these poor people. So just for your transparency, I am not like you, okay? I am different.
Poor is a choice.
Yes, being poor is a choice. I chose not to be. I used to be poor, and then I decided not to because it wasn't fun. But it's weird that people choose to do it. I don't know why they do. Isn't that weird that like people have the choice to be rich and they just decide not to?
Oh, wow. They're about to duel on this one. What do you guys think? Is being poor a choice?
What do you guys think as I drink my Dr. Pepper in my Night at the Museum cosplay office? Is being poor a choice? Do you have to ask, dude? Maybe your audience is different. Let's see what he has to say.
I think that there can be limitations to, how much money you could make. And there's certainly people who are born with severe disadvantages. You know, it would be like, playing a game of poker and you could be dealt a really crappy hand. But if you know how to play that hand, you could definitely win the round. Same as people who are dealt like 2 aces right off the bat and they end up losing to someone else with like, a pair of 3s or something like that. But there's also some severe disadvantages along the way that could hold you back. So let's see what they have to say.
So his analysis is, it's like a game of poker, Sometimes you're dealt a couple of aces and you were born into maybe you're Jaden Smith. He was dealt a pair of aces, He was automatically rich. He didn't have to really work his way up to have the money he had. Or you could be dealt a 3 and a 2. And that's no fun. But if you're smart, if you know how to play it right, which also isn't how poker works, if you know how to play it right, no, you have to get lucky. So literally his own metaphor is proving himself wrong. I don't need to spell it out for you. Being poor is not a freaking choice, dude. I don't know how many times I have to say it. Okay, but the majority of people, I think it's 50% of people born into poverty, die in poverty. And if you're not poor currently, you can't say that being poor is a choice. Even if you were poor and you're rich now, you're still not allowed to say being poor is a choice because you had advantages. And statistically, like math actually is fighting against your personal story. No matter how many times a rich person wants to say, I grew up in this household and I worked my way up, pulled myself up by my bootstraps. Statistically, you're not a better worker than everybody else. You just got lucky. And if you were never poor, like me, I was raised in a middle-class household. I was never really poor. Like I can never say that I was a poor person in America. So I definitely cannot say that being poor is a choice because I never had to worry about the next meal that I had to eat. I never had to fight paycheck to paycheck to get somewhere. I was given privilege, okay? And when you're given privilege, you can't tell someone else that they're not trying hard enough because I had the energy from being fed breakfast before I went to school. I had the energy because I was able to get a ride to class and I didn't have to walk to school. So I had the energy to perform better in my classes because of that. There's a lot of those advantages that people in lower class areas don't have because they don't have those resources. Okay. And that's just a few of the examples of like why it is harder in a lower class family. That's ignoring the area you live in and the quality of the education you have, which is completely apart from the home life that's going to affect the education that you have and the people you grow up around that have you become the product of that environment. It all affects it. And it's impossible to say that it's just a choice for you to get up and leave. Even if you're like, oh, you're in a bad area, just go to a better area. I don't even have to refute that. It's a bad argument. The fact that there's even a conversation here and this is even a debate is absurd.
I feel like it's 2021 and there's a lot of free resources. I mean, Facebook has a lot of free courses.
I love how they just put Brittany rich. What makes Brittany rich? I'm just curious, like, what the threshold was. Is it like an income per month? Is it a wealthy family? Is it a net worth?
I'm going to say it's probably the fact that she's like comfortable in her earnings and she doesn't have to worry about running out of money. That's probably what I would say.
How do they pick these people?
Most people in general don't choose to be poor, but since I've been here specifically in LA, a lot of people outside, they don't want to come into the shelter because they rather be in the tents.
That was actually a very severe issue in Los Angeles. They built this like $600,000 a room homeless facility in Venice Beach, California. And I think at the peak they were only like 60% occupied despite thousands of homeless people out there. And the reason why was because they have such strict codes that just people didn't want to comply with it. I mean, that's really what it came down to. And of course there's some other issues too. I think no pets were allowed. So like, how do you juggle around that? You're not going to leave your pet.
Okay, so he didn't really make any super bad take there. I don't know if he was insinuating that they should have taken the tent, but from what he said, the reason why it didn't happen is a lot of bad regulations, a lot of rules and compliances that made people not want to go into the tent. So looking at that from an outside perspective, let's analyze that. Do you think that if the city sets up some program for homeless people to have a shelter and those homeless people would rather live on the streets than be in that shelter, do you think, A, these homeless people want to be poor and they want to live out on the streets and that's why they didn't choose? Or do you think, B, the city should probably change the rules because it's so bad in there that homeless people don't want to live in that tent? So you guys vote down below. Do you think it's the homeless people's fault or do you think it might be the city's fault?
Disagree or step forward?
We need to realize that these people are on the street not because of their own choosing, but because of the system that we live in.
I don't know about that. I don't know if we have a system that pushes people down. They certainly make it very difficult, by the way, to do well, and it's kind of something you have to find off on your own. But unfortunately, it's just like they don't tell you how to find any of the resources on your own.
If I could speak to that,
Okay.
I come from a...
Look at that, we got Todd! Todd from Millennial Money. We did.
He said, I don't know if they really push people down. Let's go back and see this.
I don't know about that. I don't know if we have a system.
These people, we need to realize that these people are on the street not because of their own choosing, but because of the system that we live in perpetuates these things.
I don't know about that. I don't know if we have a system that pushes people down. They certainly make it very difficult, by the way, to do well.
So he says that they make it very difficult for poor people to do well and make it hard to find the resources, which is correct. But he says that's not a system that perpetuates people staying in homelessness. But isn't that completely contradictory? If they're making it harder, then they're pushing those poor people down. They're making it harder for them to come out of poverty.
And it's kind of something you have to find off on your own. But unfortunately, it's just like they don't tell you how to find any of the resources on your own. Listen, you got to be well off to begin with to get braces like that, especially the braces with the rubber bands. He could be a little bit more rich than he's giving himself credit for.
Some guy has dental care and suddenly he's more rich than we give him credit for, and because he has rubber bands in his mouth, even though he's an adult, and that's probably why he had to wait this long to have braces. I'm not going to judge some dude on his braces, but hey, go crazy. Billionaires should not exist. Let's see. This is where I think things might get spicy.
Billionaires should not exist.
Oh, of course he would say that billionaires should not exist. Listen, to be a billionaire, not always, to be a billionaire, but a lot of the time, you have to provide such immense value for the planet that people use on like a daily basis. And without that value, the world wouldn't be the same. So let's see what he has to say about that.
So the argument here is that to be a billionaire, you have to provide so much value for people, which isn't really thinking about the fact that that's the reason why they're given that much money is because their company is so big. It's not the other way around. They didn't get $1 billion and then decide to make Amazon or Google or whatever it is. These companies became so big because the CEOs took advantage of the workers below them and didn't give them a fair share of what they earn, which is why they were able to rise to such a big number. If that was not true, then Jeff Bezos would still be very wealthy, but he would have made a fair share of the amount he was actually working and providing for the company. So Jeff Bezos doesn't work a normal salary or wage job or whatever. His worth is connected to the shares of Amazon stock he owns, to all the other businesses he has his little grubby fingers in. But according to Insider, he makes about $78 billion in a year. So 78 billion over, let's say someone who makes $60,000 a year, Do we think that Jeff Bezos works 1,300,000 times harder or provides 1,300,000 times more value to his work than the average worker? But obviously the people working at Amazon don't get that. So he's obviously taking advantage of them. And if you disagree with the fact that he doesn't work 1.3 million times harder than the average worker, then I can't really argue with you on the statement. I mean, it's just...
See what he has to say about that.
It's not a necessity to have that much money, and I feel like there is a certain cap in which like you can completely survive and thrive with this amount of money, and then if you surpass that, you're just hoarding.
Oh, this is so stupid. Gosh, it's like, this is why financial education needs to be taught in schools. It's not like these people have $1 billion sitting in cash. Like,
oh God, he's doing the tech bro thing where they're like, well, actually, he has it in assets. He doesn't actually have the physical money there, so he's not that rich. He might have a few $1 billion, but most of it is in shares. And any day that could go away. But he's still hoarding wealth. Those stocks have a value to them. Those shares, the businesses you have has value. And you shouldn't be able to acquire that much value when other people associated with those businesses are barely able to live on their own.
Can never spend this money. Gosh, it's like the net worth is tied up in their company. You think if listen, you see what Elon Musk is doing to his Tesla stock when he sells 10% of his stake, 10% of his little tiny share of Tesla. And the market crashes. You know, imagine.
Yeah, because he owns a shit ton of stake in the company. So of course, if he sells literally 10% of it, people are going to go, hey, why is the CEO of this company selling his stock? Maybe we should all sell it. And then it crashes. I feel like that makes a lot of sense, right?
If Jeff Bezos was like, all right, guys, well, now I'm going to cash out $100 billion. But no, he's going to crash the market. People are going to lose so much money.
Okay, so his argument is if they actually want to cash out the money. God, how do I wrap my brain around this guy's statement? If they want to cash out the money, it's going to crash the market. So they technically don't own the money, which makes you wonder, hey, maybe that means the system's bad if some billionaire can take out 10% of his stock and then crash the stock market. I feel like that's probably not a great system, and maybe that shouldn't be what we have. But instead he's saying, hey, no, they should have their shares, but they can't cash any of that crap out, which means they're not actually billionaires, which means we shouldn't cap them off. Even if they're worth hundreds of billions of dollars, that's still just stock. They're still just like us.
Because Jeff Bezos decides he wants to sell. The net worth is tied up in the company. And to retain ownership of the company, you have to retain that stock. That's what bothers me when people don't get that.
And then
I know everyone gets that, dude. Everyone understands that it's in stock. Like literally, there is nobody that thinks that Jeff Bezos is sitting there with actual cash in his room. Everyone knows that he has it tied up in stock. But that's where the power comes from someone who's hoarding that much wealth. Someone who has that much power in this world when there's other people struggling to even eat another meal and they could easily solve it is what the issue is. You can't tell me that Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk don't have the power to make a way bigger change than they are right now, even if their wealth is tied up in these invisible stocks that you talk about.
we've seen what people with billions of dollars are doing with their money. They're going to space for fun. Like,
Right.
clearly,
Actually, Elon Musk is doing some great studies up there. He's actually doing a great job. Oh wait, it was Jeff Bezos. Same person though. They're both billionaires that don't care about us. And they both love space. They can't get enough of space. They got a hard on for space.
if we tax those people properly, get their wealth and distribute it to people who need it, that'd be a much better.
This guy's like, what the hell? Listen, from someone who is now very comfortable in the amount of money he has, please feel free to tax the shit out of me. I don't know where this big hesitation comes from. I will never notice if you decide to do it. And I will still fight for that. But at the end of the day, these taxes don't even need to come from billionaires because they shouldn't exist in the first place. These taxes should be coming from the corporations who are doing even worse things to us and are rarely talked about. It's weird how we almost never talk about corporations and how much money they could be using to save us. That's where the real evil comes in. It's not even just the billionaires, but the fact that literally any of these corporations could be properly taxed taxed like Amazon, who pays $0 in taxes every year, and massively change the way that our country is run. That's a part of the same conversation. I still agree that we should be taxing billionaires more than us, but I don't know. I'm about to watch this guy be baffled.
Use than going to space for fun.
Oh, it's not just for fun. And first of all, okay,
It's not just for fun. Okay, go ahead. Tell me what Jeff Bezos did up there. No, you can go ahead. Yeah, tell me why it was worth it. Yeah, I'm waiting.
let's stop here for a second. If someone makes the money on their own and they're providing a value for
Stop right there. What if I told you Jeff Bezos didn't make that money on his own? What if I told you Jeff Bezos stole that money from people who actually deserve it, and most of the people employed at his company have to work paycheck to paycheck to survive, but he doesn't really care, and he makes them pee in bottles too? What if I told you that? Wouldn't that be interesting? I don't know. Maybe it's not interesting. Maybe I should have never said anything. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm an idiot.
for the rest of the planet. They deserve to go to space for fun. Gosh, and
Lick the boot harder, please. Your tongue is bleeding from all the freaking boots you're licking. Okay, let's back up. I have to listen to this take again.
here for a second. If someone makes the money on their own
If someone makes the money on their own,
and they're providing a value for the rest of the planet,
and they're providing a value for the rest of the planet. So you heard him here. Jeff Bezos made all of his money on his own, his whole $69 billion. He is providing something for the rest of the planet, you know? I think he's providing what, like global warming or something like that. Then he deserves to go to space in a penis rocket.
they deserve to go to space for fun. Gosh, and just here's the thing too. How many jobs do you think they're creating going to space for fun? This is not just like they strapped.
How many jobs do you think they're creating by going to space for fun? So Jeff Bezos, because he wanted to go to space in his penis rocket, had to hire a bunch of rocket ship creators or engineers or whatever you want to call them. And he had to hire the people that worked every day to make that business work. And he had to hire the people that, flew up with him in space and the people who trained him. So he deserves to go to space because he was able to pay the people that made it happen, I guess. The people who create spaceships. Yeah. So he is a working class hero. Jeff Bezos runs a company. So he's already paying people and giving people jobs. But that's not a good thing when those jobs that you're giving people aren't good jobs. These Amazon jobs. If you can throw 15 an hour in my face as much as you want, it's not worth 15 an hour to have to work your ass off till your feet are bleeding and you got to piss in a bottle. And what is telling me that these people are being worked any easier than the Amazon warehouse employees? So why should I be happy that these people are getting jobs?
A rocket to themselves, zip up to Mars, and everyone else. No, God, you just have to think how many resources they have to build, how many people they have to employ, how many other tax dollars they're spending to get up into space.
But how many other tax dollars? He doesn't pay tax dollars.
And how much research is being done to do that.
So do you think that you shouldn't invest in those people? Should they just say, the hell with your dreams, I'm not going to invest in you?
What about the job?
What do you mean?
They're having jobs.
God, these people are, this is what I hate about the people that they bring onto these shows. They're like, oh, I'm a freaking, people love to come on and be like, I fight for this inequality. I'm a leftist, I'm a feminist. And then they directly go against something that is rooted in being that way. And I'm not saying these people identified as a leftist or a liberal or anything, but you can't go in and have all these people saying, hey, being poor is not a choice, which the majority of these people said. A lot of them made the right decision and said being poor is not a choice. But then they turn around and say, hey, we need billionaires, because billionaires are the only reason we have jobs. We need to keep these billionaires around. If I didn't have the creator of Google create Google, then I wouldn't be on YouTube, because if the billionaire wasn't there, then that corporation would have never existed. What about this? Maybe the billionaire could just not be making hundreds of billions of dollars, and that corporation would still exist. It actually would thrive because the people within it would be sustainable and would be able to take care of themselves, and they would work better. You think if they had the means of their production, maybe they would work a little bit harder because, they would be getting directly what they're putting into it? Am I making sense here, or am I freaking talking out my ass? I'm just waiting for this guy to do some reaction video to my reaction video of his reaction video, and then just turn around and be like, this guy doesn't know finance. He's making it too easy. That's the thing, though. It is easy. What these people try to do is overcomplicate things. So you decide, yeah, they probably know more than I do, and I'm going to stay out of the topic. But in reality, it's just them talking out of their ass. So you're so confused that you just stay out of it. And you're like, maybe billionaires are fine. I'm not going to worry about it because it doesn't affect me. No, it does affect you. It affects all of us, actually.
They're having jobs.
Yeah, but but how much are they getting paid for their jobs? Or those jobs in the third world where they're getting paid pennies?
Yeah.
Yes, but imagine the risk. You can't compare a business owner taking on all the risk in the event something fails versus someone trading their time for money. They get paid no matter what happens. The guy running the business, he could take on leverage, he could go bankrupt, the whole business could go under, everything he...
Yeah, that really sucks for that billionaire. Anything could happen. But these people were, so he's literally, sorry, I need to stop and specify. He's literally saying that the billionaire is taking on more labor because of the stress of possibly failing this business than people in third world countries getting paid pennies. And he's saying they get paid no matter what, which if you've ever been to a country where they're literally running sweatshops underground, which is what most corporations are doing, then you don't know if you're going to get paid. You also don't know if you're going to go home alive. Like it's unbelievable to say that the billionaire is the one that deserves all the money because they're taking on the stress of possibly having a smaller business fail when they already own billions of dollars, and it won't affect them in any way if that business fails. If the business fails, the people who are clocking in their time actually lose a job. So now they don't have any money. The billionaire loses a small investment that he put into that business, and he continues to be rich.
Invest could be worth nothing. The person working is getting a guaranteed wage no matter what. They leave home at the end of the day, they got paid.
Yes, they get paid what? 15, probably not in most states. If you live in Illinois, it probably $7 an hour you get to go home with, which isn't enough. And there's plenty of adults working like that right now, trying to raise a family. That's not really a guaranteed wage. That's like a guaranteed, hey, survive another few months and hopefully you don't run out of money and have to, die maybe?
People who make $1 billion get a fraction of the value they create. Everybody here who has a business understands that.
People who are billionaires get a fraction of the business they create. So are you saying that they're getting the short end of the stick because they're only getting a fraction of a business they created? Don't you think if you create a business and it grows, that the people that helped make it grow should also get means of the production that they created? Or do you think that the billionaire who created the business in the first place should get everything?
Even Jay-Z only gets 15 cents a record he sells, okay?
Yes.
That's a shit ton of money. 15 cents per record. And you know what? Jay-Z had a lot of people that helped him put out that record. If he made it himself, yeah, he should get 100% of it. But to say that he deserves all that money and no one helped him create that on the way is bizarre.
That's because he got exploited by the record label who's using his label.
No,
This guy has an excuse for everything.
Okay, so if he holds his own point, then he has an excuse for everything, I guess. Hey, if you try to fight against corporations who are exploiting workers and give people only a fraction of what they're worth, then that's just an excuse. If I don't have a response to your argument, then I'm just going to say that's an excuse instead of actually defending it.
Already, I don't like him.
Yeah, you don't like him because he defends poor people. Sorry.
Nothing personal. It's just what he says. It just doesn't make sense. It sounds like he's angry.
I'm angry too. How can you not be angry when there's so many people out there who are literally on the street because there's people who are too greedy, like this freak right here who has to make videos called Millionaire Reacts. You have people who literally have to go home to their kids and be like, hey, sorry, no dinner tonight because, I get paid $8 an hour. Then you turn around and say, oh, well, Jeff Bezos deserves all that money while people are starving because he was the one who came up with the idea to sell things online. Cool, dude. Very smart idea.
keep using this word exploiting like you understand the record business, of which I am in, okay?
Okay, but this guy is such a freaking jackass. Oh, I hate this shit so much.
Okay, record labels back hundreds of artists. Do you know how many go busto?
Yeah, that doesn't mean, oh my God, dude, come on. From someone who studied music business at school, the record label industry is one of the most exploitative industries out there, okay? You have these artists who basically create a whole grassroots brand and name for themselves, and you have record labels come by and basically offer like distribution and publishing for this artist, but then take probably more than 90% of what that artist will make. I know a lot of artists out there who are signed to labels who still have other jobs. So to say that the record label provides enough value where they deserve that much of a share when the musician is the one who literally created, it wouldn't exist without the musician. You're defending the corporation who knows that they're the only way this musician has a chance because they have a chokehold on the industry. Am I making sense here?
And they can't just give everybody 50-50, they'll go bankrupt.
Yeah, but they're not giving people people 50-50. They're giving them like a fraction of a percent. You can't just go, well, they can't give them all the money. Yeah, they can't give them all the money. You're right, because they have to make money for themselves, but they don't have to take as much money, dude.
You don't understand the record business and you're just yelling out these words exploiting like you know what you're talking about, but you don't.
Good. See, there's no comeback to that. He's like, but you're exploiting. You're exploiting. No, really, Anyway.
He was like, this guy doesn't know what he's saying. He's just saying exploiting. And then he just didn't have a response to it. You can't just say, I don't like what this guy's talking about, and then just pretend like you're frustrated. You have to actually be able to back up your points. But unfortunately for Graham Norton, or whatever his name is, who has 816 subscribers but can't pull more than 200,000 views on a video, he doesn't really have a response to that because he's a rich dude who just makes his money off of hopefully doing YouTube videos, but he's definitely not making enough on here. Sorry.
Using exploited in the Marxian term where your labor creates value and then your employer takes that value and distributes it unevenly to themselves and then leaves the rest for the workers. That's exploitation. My name is...
Then they don't have that guy reply. He had a great reply to it where you have someone giving means of production and it's always given unevenly, especially to the person who created the production in the first place. And then it just cuts to the next point and this guy doesn't even have a response for it. I hate people who defend rich people.
David. I work for Disney in the entertainment character department.
He's working for Disney? Listen, if we're going to talk about worker exploitation, I won't say anything, but you look up Disney work.
Do you think he agrees with Disney? He doesn't work in corporate Disney. He's an entertainer. He definitely agrees that he should be getting more money. I don't think he's defending Disney. You can't come to me and say, hey, you technically work for Google, right? Because you get paid by Google through their AdSense. So it's weird that you're saying that corporations need to pay their workers more when you yourself participate. This is the only video freaking hosting site because they have a monopoly on the industry, which they shouldn't have. But instead, I can't do anything about it because I'm a normal ass person who doesn't have the buying power that billionaires have. Do you not think that's an issue? All of this is really easy. That's why I think that defending these ideas, you don't need, I don't have a finance degree. I don't have some poli-sci degree. I don't research this shit besides the actual facts of the matter. How many people make it out of poverty? How many people work paycheck to paycheck? That's what you have to know. And you have to know what corporations are paying taxes, how much they're paying. It's not hard besides that to know, hey, maybe we should prioritize workers and make sure everyone has food on the table every night. That's not a hard thing to stand up for. It's really easy not to defend billionaires when they're doing shitty things. You don't have to do that. I don't know anything. I'm a pretty dumb guy, which I think what's-his-face Graham Norton would agree with here. He would agree that I'm a pretty dumb guy. But what I do know is that people who are providing value should be getting equal benefit from that value. And if you're a billionaire, you are getting way more benefit from your value than your worker is. Of course, a billionaire should be paid money if they create something, as should all of us. But unfortunately, they're the ones taking advantage of that. And most people are left in the dust without really much to say about it or do about it because they don't have the power to do it.
Worker exploitation, you'll see a lot. And of all the people to be saying this, he works for a company allegedly notorious for that.
He didn't defend Disney. He never said, I love Disney and Disney doesn't need to pay me. Jesus, this guy is so...
Don't pay us that much. They have enough money to pay us more. I think
he's literally, see, now he's doing it now. He didn't even take it out of the video. He's literally talking about how Disney's exploiting him.
They should just pay us more. But I don't think they're going to do that. That's why I'm advocating for a union to bargain in our favor.
Listen, there's nothing wrong about a union, but what he needs to do is then take his wage and shop it around. Go to work at Knott's Berry Farm if they pay more. Go and do something else instead.
So yeah, he has the classic argument, hey, if you don't like your job, just go find a different job, which I think for many of you watching right now, I mean, for sure, tell me down in the comments your experience, but it's not easy to find a job. Actually, this year and last year are probably the two toughest years ever it has been to find a job in the States because of COVID. So you're telling this guy who has a job that is barely keeping him afloat at Disney, and right now he's living paycheck to paycheck, or maybe not even, and you're telling him, hey, you should just quit your job and go get a job that has you pay more. How can you say that if you're not him? Don't you think that he might be doing that if he's poor? My God, dude, this video raised my blood pressure. Listen, I'm gonna stop it there. I'm like halfway through the video, but I can't. I know how the rest of this is gonna go. Graham Stephan's not doing great on YouTube right now. His views are kind of tanking, so I'm sure he'll say something about this. But maybe go down in the comments and let me know your experiences with this, and I'd love to hear from you. I want to know. There's nothing more important than knowing what actual real life people are experiencing. You can look at the facts all day long, and I love looking at the facts. I love looking at the numbers, but at the end of the day, those numbers are actual people. And if you look at people who are actually poor and they tell you that they're trying not to be poor, you better believe them, because you're not the poor one. They are. And it's hard to be poor. Why would you want to be poor? Thank you for watching. Leave a like and subscribe. And oh my gosh, this guy, Graham Norton sorry, I keep calling him Graham Norton. I can already see him like making a video about this, and then every time going, he keeps calling me Graham Norton. I'm not Graham Norton, I'm Graham Stephan. Everyone knows me, I'm Graham Stephan. But he was in a Jubilee video. Millionaires versus minimum wage. Did you earn your money? So that's exciting. If you guys want to see me freak out over that video, maybe I'll stream it on twitch.tv/niggasnotgreen. Okay, bye everybody.